So in this video, we're going to talk about determining the static sensitivity of our Wheatstone bridge. So you can think of the static sensitivity as how much strain is needed to increase the output voltage. Okay, so in the first method we had where we had the first strain gauge R1 was our active gauge, and our second gauge, our compensating gauge, was R2. All right, we could say that we define the bridge static sensitivity using this ratio here. All right, so we just looked at the equation we had on the last few pages. All right, and if we go back to our um, uh, the equations we had developed on, I think this was on page 80 of your handout. We had this equation here. All right, so that we developed here. All right, for the so we just rearrange this equation to solve for EO as a function of the applied as a function of strain, and we get this relationship here. Okay, so if we know a few things, all right, so if we say the resistances are equal, all right, and we can say that the input voltage we know is proportional to the current that's going through it as well as the resistance of our strain gauge, we can simplify this equation down even further here. All right, all right. So the one thing to note here is that the the I squared R term in this represents electrical power. All right. So basically, the larger the current, the higher the greater sensitivity that we would get. But the problem with that is that you're also increasing the temperature. So there's a trade-off between using greater power and greater uncertainty in your final measurement due to that potential increase in local temperature rise. Um, so in the second method we had where we had R1 was our active gauge and R3 was our compensating gauge, our sensitivity uh, factor would be quite a little bit different. So in this case, our we could use we could change our values of R1 and R2 to change the static sensitivity of our temperature measurement. Okay, so if we had R1 is equal to R2, these two equations are the same, but if we don't make them equal, we can then change those values to improve the static sensitivity. So we can increase or decrease how sensitive our output voltage would be to a change in strain by modifying our values of R1 and R2. Okay, so